My F22 husband, M32, is getting radicalized online and I don't know what to do. I, F22, have been married to my husband, M32, for 2 years now. We had been doing great until he lost his job last year during COVID. He started spending more time online and gaming. He mostly plays Oregon Trail games, which I had been patient with. I noticed that he mostly stopped browsing Reddit. I never snooped or checked his account, but I would often see him scrolling. Instead, I noticed a new website he was constantly on. I'm still not sure exactly what it is, but I always see an orange cat cartoon and often homoerotic pictures. More on that later. It kinda looks like a Reddit clone, but I can't find any info and we have separate computers. Not long after he started browsing, he would constantly be on this site, and if I got close to his PC he would close it. He said the homoerotic pictures on the site are ironic to scare away outsiders. But otherwise he doesn't want to discuss it with me. I'm inclined to believe him. They're just men kissing but nothing pornographic. So the core issue is whatever goes on this website has changed him. He now often calls women voids. He's constantly talking about and berating trans people, and often makes bussy jokes at inappropriate times around our friends. He has autism and has trouble with social cues, but this is too much. I'm at a loss for what I can do. I don't want to snoop and find out what on earth this website is, but I feel I am losing my husband. I guess I know the solution, but I wanted to get this all out there, because I am too embarrassed to tell my friends. It all sounds so stupid. I have to have a sit down with him. I'm just terrified he is too far gone. He was a normal guy and we had a great life before all this. What else can I do? You don't want to be with someone who calls you a void. I, F22, have been married to my husband, M32, for 2 years now. Do you live somewhere where dating is a no-go? When did you and your husband get together? Most people in their late 20s wouldn't be interested in starting to date a teenager, someone in their early 20s, due to being in different life stages, having different timelines, and there usually being a maturity and life experience gap. We had been doing great until he lost his job last year during COVID. Is he still actively looking for work, or is he already back in the workforce? So the core issue is whatever goes on this website has changed him. How would you know if it has changed him? Might well be that he always thought along those lines, but simply hid it because he knew it might be a deal breaker for most. I don't want to snoop and find out what on earth this website is, but I feel I am losing my husband. I guess I know the solution, but I wanted to get this all out there, because I am too embarrassed to tell my friends. What other options do you think you have? Your husband doesn't communicate, and it might well be that your marriage is on its decline no matter what path you're choosing. Individual counseling might help you to plan the next few steps, analyze the dynamic right now, and potentially discuss couples counseling if it's safe. Get the name of the site and investigate. That's not snooping. Well, the fact that he pursued and married you when he was 30 years old and you were 20 years old tells me he's not a stable, mature man. It's hard to de-radicalize people like that. I'm sure a psychiatrist would have better advice about how to do that. You can protect yourself though. Do you challenge him when he says sexist crap about you? Have you made it clear that his behavior is worrisome? You can try to get him off this path, but I think it's safer if you do it from a distance. Even if he doesn't end up in the news. Do you really want to stay married to someone who's capable of turning whole groups of humans into something subhuman in his head? Please don't stay married to someone who considers the bodies that literally go through immense pain to create human life out of 2 cells to not even be human bodies. That's beyond ridiculous. He is a grown adult man, and it is not your responsibility to teach him that human men and women are the same species. I realize how low the bar for men is now, but surely, he knows I'm a person, hasn't become a stretch goal for us? Run. He's toxic. He chose you. A decade younger because he wanted control. Now he's an out-of-work loser that self-soothes by putting everyone down? How could you stay? It's not a safe environment to raise children or keep yourself safe. He sees women as subhuman. Run. That's what happened to the guy who shot up the Buffalo grocery store. Run away up. I'm in agreement with the others here that you may not just have known who he truly was. Given the short duration of your relationship. To me, a lot on paper written out stands in the way of a successful marriage with two equal partners. Is it worth the effort to try and rehabilitate this man during the period of your relationship that should still be relatively honeymoon-like and on the upswing? The later part of marriage, the trenches, isn't even in sight yet. If it's this hard now, it could potentially get much harder later without intervention now. If he's willing, which unfortunately most people aren't. Is that massive amount of effort worth it to you? In my book, it's okay to cut your losses and start anew with this much baggage to deal with. Don't indulge in the sunk cost fallacy when you deserve more than just tolerating your partner. You have your whole life ahead of you. You don't have to be tied down to someone with such regressive views if you don't want to, and it's not your job to re-educate a man on basic respect to women. If you leave, you're not quitting because you couldn't technically put in the effort, but because you maybe decide it isn't worth the effort. A decent human being would know how to do that already. I doubt this man would make a good father in terms of passing on these shitty views to his kids, are even equally contributing, seeing as how he isn't already. There is already a sizable age gap at play here, which potentially opens the door to an unhealthy dynamic. Moreover, the embarrassment over discussing this with your friends is clearly telling you something is wrong. Here, honor your feelings, and take the actionable steps necessary to do so. I understand you may love this man and want to stay with him. And I don't want to dismiss that and tell you to just automatically cut ties, no questions asked. No one can demand you leave. Just to consider it an option, because it's unlikely that someone will be willing to change beyond the surface level even with a sit down. Unless they do some genuine introspection on their behavior and are genuinely willing to hear you out without dismissing or undercutting what you have to say, your concerns. In some ways, the evasive way in which he's reacted to you asking or confronting him about questionable stuff, the homoerotic pictures on the site, his inappropriate jokes about certain groups of people, already speaks to a lack of desire for accountability and taking your concerns seriously. I don't think it's wrong to assume that approach will most likely continue. I'd be honest and tell him what you think. He needs to hear it. This path will only get worse. I honestly don't know if I could have basic respect for someone who was anti-rainbow flag, but that'll be your call, and if he's vocal about prepare to lose some friends. Why are you two not having a conversation about this? Honestly, if he's changed this much, you might want to start looking into getting a divorce. Girl, you are 22. You have your whole life ahead of you. Leave this man. What is he bringing to the table? You know, honestly, it's nice to see posts like these. It shows that no matter how badly I think of myself, if a guy like that can get a woman to care about him, then anyone can. I'll bite. What site is Op talking about? If you didn't make kids or lucky, get out. Get out of there before he writes his manifesto. I'd talk to him. Find out what the site is. Studies have shown even a short while of not reading extreme views can help to change someone's radicalized thinking. So he isn't gone. I'm guessing his ASC made him more susceptible. All you can do is set your own boundaries. As you think about what boundaries you'd like to set, I would focus less on the website and more on his behaviors and language. Have you already asked him not to talk like that anymore? If you have and he continues to do it, it isn't likely you're going to get him to stop. I'm sorry that you've lost the great life you had. It is really sad. It seems to me that the day after he lost his job, or the day his unemployment benefits ran out, he should have been looking for a job 8 hours a day. These men of my generation are so disappointing. What do you do? Leave. You're 22. You can find another guy who's not an impressionable wacko. Get away from him before he does something that will ruin both your lives. After what went down in Buffalo, no chances should be taken. A orange cat? Is it a orange cat with black around the app? If that is, he is definitely not just into you. He's not into other women neither, just to let you know. I am not about telling on a bro, since I am the same way.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.